Primary election day is Tuesday, June 4th. Now is the time to make a plan. Whether you plan to vote absentee by mail, in person at your county auditor's office before Election Day, or at your polling place on June 4th, it's important you take steps now to make your plan at voterready.iowa.gov. Remember, Election Day is Tuesday, June 4th. Find more info at voterready.iowa.gov. This message is presented by the Iowa Secretary of State.
Tony Dunn, ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
What's up, Panther fans? The NFL draft is in the books, and one of our players is in tears of joy to be a Carolina Panther, Xavier Legette. And man, we got a linebacker who had 32 tackles in a single game his freshman year of college. Holy cow. We're going to be assessing the Carolina Panthers 2024 draft, the draft grades, and getting into the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. My name's Tony Dunn. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. And every Tuesday night at 9 p.m., we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. I do it each and every week with my homeboy, my wheelman, Cody Lack. What's up, my dude?
Tony Dunn. As always, there's nowhere I'd rather be on a Tuesday night than talking Panther football with my boys. Dan Morgan's first ever draft as the GM of the Carolina Panthers is in the book, and emotions are running wild, dude. Some fans think that we aced this draft. Some fans think that we absolutely bombed it. And by the way, many of those media outlets agree with the fans who say that we bombed. But that's not really surprising at this juncture. We're going to talk about picking up J.C. Horn's fifth-year option, some undrafted free agents. We're going to break down all the different draft players that were brought into Carolina and Tony Dunn. You know that we're going to do it with the best damn Panther fans in all of YouTube, brother. You already know them and love them. We got Panther Pickle in the house. Our guy, Drew. Drew, what's up, brother? Joey the Blind Panther, what's up, dude? Brandon Malone. Daniel Berry Sports Highlights, The Real Sunchild, Harvey London, Jorge Marcelo, Kristen Butler, newly wedded, congratulations, Kristen, Mike Dupree, The Professional, and Tim Estes. Tony Dunn, ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
The number's 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. Join in the C3 Panthers podcast. We want to get your thoughts on the Panthers draft class, some of these players, how Dan Morgan's doing, and what the outlook for the Carolina Panthers is going forward. CK, welcome back to the C3 Panthers podcast. Love hanging out with you as always.
Yeah, man. And we have some things to talk about. We hadn't had a lot to talk about over the past few weeks, and now we finally have some things to, sink our teeth into. And then we have a drought after this. There isn't, we thought the last drought was bad. This is going to be the bigger one of any of the droughts, having to get to training camp and what have you. So we're going to see how this goes, but man, it's going to be exciting to talk about these new players, see everybody's take, maybe take some shots at the media and some of these fans who are not as high on this draft as maybe they could be. But that's where we're at, man. I'm happy to be here with you boys talking about it.
CK said before the show he had a bone to pick. So I'm excited. I'm happy.
Well, we're going to have I'm sure there'll be a lot of contentious debate as usual when it comes to this. There's a lot of passionate fans in the chat, a lot of passionate fans on Twitter following and hanging out with us. We're on Twitter Live. We're on Facebook Live. We're on YouTube, or should I say X, and Rumble, guys. Make sure you smash the thumbs up button, jump in the show, subscribe. Those small things help. I'm telling you, if you just retweet the tweet, it picks up momentum. Those small things help us find more people for our audience. Guys, don't forget tonight, though, the show. It's your last night, the last night of the month to do this. North Carolina, Bet365 is for you guys. Sports gambling is legal in North Carolina now, And Bet365 is offering new users $150 in bonus bets this month. It's the last day of the month. Get your chance now. To receive your bonus bets, all you have to do is sign up for Bet365 using our link. It's on the screen right there, the QR code. Or you could go to the direct link, bit.ly/C365. That's in the show description as well. You go there. Once you settle your first bet, you'll get $150 in bonus bets, even if you lose that bet. The Hurricanes are playing right now. It's playoff hockey. They're up right now. Get in there. You got an opportunity to place a third period bet. To be eligible, though, to sign up for this bonus, you must sign up through our link, bit.ly/365. Not only will you receive the $150 in bonus bets, but you'll also be directly supporting this podcast. The more people that sign up, the more they know that our fans listen to our voice, and we can secure some sponsors going forward. This is only for people of 21 who new customers, 21 and older, and physically present in North Carolina. Gamble respectfully, responsibly. And if you got a gambling problem, there are some resources in the description. Cody Lack, let's get into tonight's show.
Yes, sir, man. Listen, let's jump into it and discuss the 2024 NFL draft for the Carolina Panthers. Boys, it's in the books, okay? And we're going to go from top to bottom and kind of go over the draft class, what we think of each one of these players, and how likely they are to actually make a difference on the team this year. First and foremost,
can we go before we go through each player, though, because I know we want to do that. Can we just reflect upon a little bit about how the draft occurred, some of the things that happened for us? You know, we got here on Thursday night. We were hanging out watching the entire draft. And at the 11th hour, the Carolina Panthers traded up to secure the last spot in the final round where they got a first-round draft pick. And they really didn't have to do anything but swap I think a 5th for a 6 or something like that later on. The next day we hopped up here. The Panthers immediately traded back, then traded up, and some draft movement around there. Your thoughts just on the navigation of the draft by Dan Morgan?
So I'll go first and then pass it to CK. Listen, I like the players, but I think one of the reasons why we're seeing so many people, specifically in the media, be so hard on Dan is for the value, and again, we'll talk about it as we get to each one of the players. Using a second round pick on a running back, then trading up to get a linebacker that sort of really wasn't on people's boards. I don't know, Tony. I've had some time to sit and digest. I like a lot of the players that we got, but I do feel like some of the moves were a little bit excessive in one way or another. But, I mean, again, it's hard to sum up. And again, it depends on what trade you're talking about. So if we're talking about this one that we have in front of us for Xavier Legette, for the Panthers to go up one spot and to be able to recoup a second-round draft pick in 2025 that we didn't have before this, I think this is a great move. And Tony, not only does it give you that second round pick next year, but for the Carolina Panthers, who had met with Xavier Legette reportedly 4 to 5 times, they really like him and what he has the potential to do for this offense. I mean, now you're also going to be able to pick up a 5th-year option for this player. That gives them more time to make decisions, more time to maneuver the salary cap. I love it. And Tony, look, if you have listened to Xavier Legette's accent, I mean, he's a South Carolina player. He's a Gamecock. And even I love the dude, man. He has the best accent instantly of any Carolina Panther I think I've ever heard. I don't know, but overall, I think that the players were good. But I think Dan Morgan's draft process, to me at least, left a little wanting.
CK, I guess a lot of people have been interested in Dan Morgan and how he would perform in his first draft.
Right.
He's, kind of tied a little bit to Scott Fitter, still kind of carries some of the stink or the fingerprints of the Scott Fitter regime with him into this new movement. He did a lot of movement up and down, just like Fitter did his first draft. Dan Morgan's performance, though, I wanted to present this to you, and then I'll let you just reflect on Dan Morgan's performance. I don't know if this is in the show. I saw this from Seth Wilder. Said the Rams trade up for Brandon Fisk was the most expensive day to overpay of at least the last 6 drafts, according to ESPN's draft evaluations. The Rams traded 52 and 155 and a 2025 second for Carolina's 39. There's some value there, obviously. I mean, and that's what happens when you got something that somebody else wants, and we know the Rams are not scared to roll like that.
No, and they might have actually gotten, that might be the only time I'm going to say that somebody got fleeced. Because when you look at they traded up, 12 or 13 spots to go from where they were. We traded up, 6 or 7 spots to go get Brooks. And we barely gave away anything for that. In my opinion, we gave away like 150 and 190 or something along those lines. So to recoup a second round, come away with what many people consider the best running back in the class. I know a lot of people might not say that bar was very high, and I don't know. I wasn't watching tape, so I can't tell you that. But I think the biggest disappointment is nobody felt like running back was a need. You know what I mean? I think that's where most people are probably expressing their biggest frustrations, if I had to guess. And Cody's, he's doesn't have a high value on the running back position, and that I understand. But I think that where Cody's opinion, I don't disagree. I think that there are plenty of people who have this similar, idea. I don't think we're getting that bad of draft grades because of that. They're using the Bryce Young trade and grading this year's draft, which I know they tend to do that. Many of them do. But I just don't think it's a fair thing to this new front office for them to do that.
Yeah, overall, I think is anybody who's going to be, well, first, the draft grade crap is all kind of bullshit in some ways, right? Is that it's just a mixture of needs. They list the needs of a team, and they listed big board and the teams that, they just whoever you thought was going to be good. That's why they do redrafts at the end of the year to see like how things looked when the players actually performed. Right. And really is, all of it is the proof is going to be on the field. So if any of these players turn out to be good, all of a sudden it's going to look brilliant. So I'm not really interested in the grades so much as just thinking about how these players work and why we selected them. And I think I'm going to be with you tonight, CK, as I don't have a problem with what the Panthers did. In fact, I think there's going to be some wisdom to it. And I thought that the draft was pretty on brand for what the Carolina Panthers have been trying to do this offseason. Right. Cody Lack, let's start with Xavier Leggett. And boy, I had a friend tell me, he said, I listened to him talk when, and he said, I don't think I understood, but maybe 20% of what he said.
Listen, man, he's definitely got a thick country accent, baby. And I call him Big Country on Twitter. I kind of feel like that's the name I'm vibing with right now. I know Cam Newton would always give nicknames to people. I'm liking Big Country right now. But listen, I think this guy is I know he's someone that the Panthers value very highly. I mean, enough to move into the first round to get him. But this guy, theoretically, is a real legitimate X wide receiver. He can stretch the field, Tony, but his yards after the catch ability is really insane. And I know it's kind of easy to make this comparison because they both went to South Carolina, but he does have some Deebo Samuel traits, and that he can catch a slant 15 yards from the line of scrimmage and take it all the way to the house and put a free safety in the dirt at the same time. Like that size, strength, and athleticism, it's hard to teach, man. And he ran a 4.39 at the combine. He's got good hands, and dude, he just has that personality, man. He's one of those types of people that once you hear him, it's like hard not to be a fan of the guy. Like even if you were a fan of another team, you would listen to this guy and want to pull for him.
Can we listen to him? Do we got anything we can hear from him?
Yeah, I can pull up an interview. And also I wanted to share, did I have it saved? I didn't, damn it. But there was a trade that was rumored to be going down with the Patriots. Let me bring that. Yeah, I wanted to bring that up before we moved on from it.
I think, look, we saw this is at the moment, as soon as, if you go back and watch our reaction to the Panthers trading up, I was like, no, because you think you got to give a lot. But when you found out what the details were, then you get the 5th-year option, you understand the wisdom and the move right there. Right. And for the price, it was, it seems like a no-brainer. All right, what do we got here? Carlos talks Pats.
Yeah, the Patriots made a trade offer to the Bills Thursday night in hopes of landing number 32. Buffalo instead made a deal with the Panthers per Mike Reese. Reese says New England was most likely targeting either Leggett or Keon Coleman. He believes that Leggett was the target. So CK and I talked about this a little bit beforehand. A lot of people had a lot of opinions when we hired Dan Morgan, and they felt that he was kind of a holdover from past regimes. But I really do think that Dan Morgan and the connections that he has built, specifically with a guy like Brandon Beane, I do think that it was his relationships that caused the Bills to want to trade with us as opposed to them. Now,
they don't want to trade in their division either.
I hear you, but I do think that Dan Morgan, having these prior relationships and being this guy that is able to call people like Brandon Beane, who also has a history with the Carolina Panthers, I think that mattered in us being able to make this happen. And if you believe Dan Morgan, they talked earlier in the day and they told the Bills, hey, if you guys are considered trading back a little bit there at the end, let us know. We might be interested in making that deal. So I think this was a lot of foresight from Dan Morgan and our staff. And I think his relationships helped us tremendously.
There's something, to be said about the idea of making a clean break entirely from the last, we talked about this for months at one point. But one of the things that we harped upon when this decision was made to go with Dan Morgan is the value of having Dan Morgan there was the understanding of why you drafted Bryce Young in the first place.
Sure.
Like trying to remember before it went wrong what you thought of that player, how it was going to work, how you foresaw it. Now, that first season shook all Panther fans. And look, in the NFL, and all fans are recency biased, is what have you done for me lately? I think having Dan, though, knowing what they saw in him from the beginning, made it easier for them to commit to Bryce Young this offseason. And that's what they've done. If you looked at this draft and this free agency, they have worked to put an offensive team around Bryce. They have maybe sacrificed the defense to do so, but it's evaluation time to figure out what you have with Bryce Young, and there should be no half-ass in it. And I like how Dan Morgan has really laid out a blueprint and stuck to it, hasn't wavered from it. And so that's been interesting. All right. So do we got we sure
do. We sure do. Tony, I love it. I love it. I love the way it sounds. I love the way he talks. I love his enthusiasm.
Xavier, you woke up a Carolina Panther. Did you have to pinch yourself?
Say it one more time.
So you woke up a Carolina Panther this morning. Did you have to pinch yourself a little bit?
Oh, no, man. I woke up ready, man. I got a call right after I got dressed. They was coming to pick me up at 9:30 in the morning. I told them I'm going to be ready.
What was that feeling like when you got the call? Because I saw the emotion in your face in the video, but what were those emotions?
Overly excited my whole time, and I really trying to hold my tears in for real, man. I told my folks I wasn't going to crack. I was trying to be tough guy, but man, I was really over excited.
I love him. I saw someone call him the Black Boomhauer from King of the Hill. And I'm like, dude, I love the fact that now we're going to have a segment. What did Xavier Leggett say? And we're going to have to figure out what exactly he's saying to us. I'm interested in learning this accent, man, learning more where it comes from. I love it, man.
We got to talk about these people in the chat right now. Look, it's Chase Hawkins.
You're out of order. No. You're out of order. This whole court is out of order.
My man said I look like Pauly Shore. That is Pauly Shore, who I just played right there from Jury Duty. And then somebody comes in firing. I get more catching strays ever. He said I look like the heavy kid from the Sandlot. I weighed in at 201 today, dude. I was down weight.
Bro, they're cooking your ass, bro.
God. Jeez. Man.
But I mean, does anyone have anything more to say about
look, I feel like if you're from the South, you know people like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, so if you're listening to this podcast and you're not from the South, that's ridiculous. But they grow on trees around North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia. You know he's from the Low Country, my man.
Oh, yeah, man.
We got another Georgia. The linebacker's a Georgia boy too. Like he was born in Georgia.
The one from
Kentucky.
Yeah.
I read a story where it's like he played football in the mud when he played in the mud when the kid
Shit.
All right, so the Panthers then this is the controversial aspect of the draft.
Yeah,
right
one of the more controversial aspects of the draft. So the Carolina Panthers essentially traded down and then traded back up, correct? If I'm not
They traded,
we
traded down to 52 initially. That's when the Rams traded with us.
Right.
And we decided to go back up again. The team that we traded with escapes me at the moment. But we picked up Jonathan Brooks, running back from Texas. And Tony, CK, this guy, he was the highest rated running back in the entire draft. In fact, he was the first running back even drafted in this entire draft. Jonathan Brooks is an incredible athlete. And listen, man, shout out to our dog, G-Baby. G-Baby is a Texas fan. He put out this tweet, and it blew up. It got a lot of traction. He said, I'm a Texan fan. I was living in Houston, watching Texas win a national title way back when. If Jonathan Brooks stays healthy, he breaks all of Bijan Robinson's rushing yards in 2023. Texas wins. Wins it all if we had Jonathan Brooks. And it goes on, Michael Rimmer compared the stats of both of them. Similar rushing yards, similar average yards, similar touchdowns. I mean, these two players are right in the same ballpark. And Bijan Robinson was drafted top 10 by the Atlanta Falcons. So some people feel it was a little bit of a reach for a running back. I'm not necessarily, on draft night, I sort of agreed with that assessment. After looking into him more, it definitely softens the blow when you see how dynamic of a runner he is. And my final thoughts on it, and I'll pass the mic, is Canales has said that he wants to be so committed to running the football that it borderlines on stubborn. He wants to be able to run the football at any given time. And I think that this is another weapon for the Panthers to be able to do that and take some of the heat off of Bryce Young.
You know, in the moment, again, where there's a lot going on, we're all talking about all the picks. You see this stuff flying around, the Panthers moving back. You really didn't have a running back necessarily on your radar if you're a Panthers fan as a need or even an interest. And then you get that thought of, well, running backs, you know, you can find a lot of them, you know, not only are they cheap to pay in free agency overall, generally, as you can, you know, a lot of people think they're a dime a dozen.
Right.
But there's a couple of things that we've learned since, right? We've learned just how interested the Dallas Cowboys were.
Do you want me to play that clip real quick?
Yeah, let's hear it. So is that this is why the Panthers draft made a move.
We found out how much the Dallas Cowboys love.
This is after night one. This is before day 2 of the draft, I believe.
Yeah, so this is before they even had the chance to draft him.
You get some kind of assessment about Jonathan Brooks as an NFL prospect and how his recovery is coming from ACL surgery.
In my 30 years, I thought it was the best interview that I've ever interviewed with a player. He's outstanding, and he's just outstanding. And he's a great football player. We got him high. And he's a good player.
Show on the board.
Well, I got it in here.
It says show him the board.
God.
Why don't you?
Hey,
tip
wait!
off
Listen to the last.
No, I would echo Jerry's thoughts. I mean, I got to sit with him as well. He's outstanding, and certainly, I think he's working his, tail off to get that knee. He's good friends with our guy, Overshown, and so I think they're taking notes on each other's knees and how they're coming along, and they're competitive like that. But he's like Jerry said, he's one hell of a football player and was having a great year for Texas. It's unfortunate, that he had the knee injury, but after visiting with him, you're betting on him.
He's a tough year. He lost his daddy and of course hurt his knee, and that's obviously one of the roughest times of being in athletics is coming off an injury. But he's a good player
and one of several great players that are still left in this draft.
Dude,
All right, so look, is the Dallas Cowboys were drafting this kid there.
100%.
Yeah, and the Panthers knew this. They had the intel and they moved up for it.
It was a guarantee that they were going to draft him for a few reasons. Number one, they lost Pollard this year, so they needed a running back. They're going to need they're in a small window. Like, they still have a lot of the pieces they need to be competitive and go for a championship. And the one piece that I think many people would say they were missing right now, amongst things that without knowing everything about the Dallas Cowboys, the one piece that you would point to that team missing is a running back. So quite honestly, that's where I look at this. I look at this entire draft and I see everybody's complaining about this draft and saying that we did like Cody said. I mean, when I don't know enough about these guys, I can only listen to what other people say and watch the highlights and what have you. And highlights can give you a false expectation of what to expect from a guy. But the thing that I think is most telling is we were maneuvering the board in a way that allowed us to get the players that we wanted. People may not like the players that we wanted, but we wanted them. Like, we wanted the guys we got. We got Xavier Legette. We got Jonathan Brooks by trading up to get him because we knew he was going to be gone with the next pick. Legette might have been the same way with the Patriots if they had traded with the Bills, which we knew was going to be a long shot either way. And then you look at I know we haven't gotten to it, but I think it's worthy of a conversation right now. And that is our next pick, or not the next pick, but our tight end. When you look at the weapons they have gotten, and I think this tight end is a perfect example of what Tony loves. He wasn't taken super high. He was considered the second best tight end in this draft. And he's going to be paired back up with Jonathan Brooks. Jonathan's first name, right?
Yeah, Jonathan Brooks. And two horns up. We're a Texas team now. Cool note from I think Cole Irvin, maybe one other person put it up too. Said that Brooks, the Dallas doctors actually even did Brooks's surgery. So not only are they understanding of the injury.
Primary Election Day is Tuesday, June 4th. Now is the time to make a plan. Whether you plan to vote absentee by mail, in person at your county auditor's office before Election Day, or at your polling place on June 4th, it's important you take steps now to make your plan at voterready.iowa.gov. Remember, Election Day is Tuesday, June 4th. Find more info at voterready.iowa.gov. This message is presented by the Iowa Secretary of State.
You know how to book flights and hotels. All you're missing is a tool to plan the travel experiences you'll have once you arrive. That's why you need Viator. Book guided tours, excursions, and more in one place. There are over 300,000 travel experiences to choose from, so you can find something for everyone. And Viator offers free cancellation and 24/7 customer support for worry-free travel. Download the Viator app now and use code Viator10 for 10% off your first booking in the app. Find travel experiences for you. Do more with Viator.
Support for this podcast and the following message come from Corient. Corient provides wealth management services centered around you. They focus on exceeding your expectations and simplifying your life. Corient has been helping high achievers just like you enjoy their lives more fully, preserve their wealth, and provide for the people, causes, and communities they care about. As one of the largest integrated fee-only registered investment advisors in the U.S., Corient has deeply experienced teams in 23 strategic locations. Corient has extensive knowledge spanning the full spectrum of plan planning, investing, lending, and money management disciplines. Leverage Corient's exclusive network of experts to craft custom solutions designed to help you reach your financial goals, no matter how complex they may be. Real wealth requires real solutions. For more information, connect with a wealth advisor today at Corient.com. That's Corient.com. Corient.com.
They're kind of like intimately informed about the process and who did it. Now,
And,
look, I thought he put this up. He said, "I just don't want Panther fans not to cheer 100% for Brooks due to value." I'm gonna be here, and I'm taking the opposite position. I'm with you, Cole. I don't have a problem with this pick, right? And here's number one is sure can running backs are you trying to get somebody that you don't want to commit too much to them. But running backs are a dime a dozen. That's why you get them young. You get them on a rookie contract. You kind of run them into the dirt and you move on. Now, that's a kind of cold, callous way of talking about it. But what we saw here is that the Panthers didn't have good running backs. Yes, I mean, I'm a known Chuba Hubbard hater, right? And he did have his best season in the NFL last year. Miles Sanders was atrocious. I don't think he's that bad, but he was terrible. The one thing that's great about a rookie running back, except for pass protection, this is one of the easier positions to acclimate to from the college game to the NFL, that you see guys come in, take the field, and make a difference right away. Right. So if you can get a guy, the question is, if he wouldn't have had that injury, would he have been a first-round pick maybe? Right? What would he have been without that injury? And yes, if anything, if you do want to be kind of concerned about trading up in the value with coming off a major injury, I think those are valid things to note. But if you can get a dynamic player, one that doesn't take a ton of time to develop, wide receivers take time to develop into dynamic players. Tight ends often take time to go from college to the NFL and become dynamic players. Now, are there players that wide receiver that have stepped in and gotten it done? Certainly. But running back tends to be, we've seen so many running backs step on their rookie year and just crush it. And I saw Panther Pickle in a chat put that Jonathan Stewart compared him as a cross between, I think he said Jamal Charles and Raheem Mostert or something like this. I like that he's not too small, right? He's 6 foot. He's explosive, but not little. So he can be an every down type of player. You're not limited. But I think there's if you've got that Jamal Charles dynamicism. I mean, I think the one that most recently I think of would have been Alvin Kamara. But I like that Jamal Charles comparison. So look, who cares if you trade up 6 picks and this guy all of a sudden reels off 800, 1,000 yards next year? And again, that's what's going to come back to this that's why I hate the draft speculation so much, because it's like, oh, we take them at 54, but 49, way overdraft. So look, I like this. And what I love about this player, guys, adding this to the puzzle, even more so than Xavier Legette, is that you have committed, well, not more so, but just as much. Dan Morgan initiated a plan this offseason. We had the worst offense in the league last year.
Yeah.
People were automatically wondering if Bryce Young had the chops to be, and that's natural in the NFL. You struggle automatically, and you see CJ Stroud over there doing great and stuff like that. People are going to think that, and even the organization is wondering that. They have committed right now to putting an offense around Bryce Young and learning about his future as a Carolina Panther this year, and I'm here for it. And I think this Jonathan Brooks pick is one of those. We're not trying to build. Who cares if we get well, I liked it. I'll stop with that. We got we got a dog here, and Trevin Wallace.
Yeah, but so before we move on, I got a message from a sports nut telling me to play this video of Xavier.
I'll translate. Somebody asked me to translate. I'll translate.
Yeah. So translate what my man's saying.
Xavier Legette in the studio.
Legette.
was fresh off the plane.
Yeah, and it is legit. They asked him in his press conference how to pronounce it, and he said that the Roger Goodell said it right. It's legit.
You're here at the stadium for the first time. I just want to know, can you take me through getting that call last night?
Oh man, well I had just left from the bathroom.
All right, so he just left the bathroom.
Back to the table, Dan Morgan Calvin.
Well, thank goodness.
Boy, and he got to the kitchen table.
Big Xavier.
Probably a whole heaping plate of collard greens right there waiting for him.
All right, so this is the second part. What is it?
As I was walking back to the table, Dan Morgan Calvin.
Well, thank
as I was walking back to the table, Dan Morgan called.
Dan Morgan Coleman. God.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it.
Somebody said, do you like him because of his, so he's going to be good because of the way, or so we like him because of the way he talks. We do like the way he talks. I'm a Southerner. Even though most people say I don't have a Southern accent, I was born in Winterville, North Carolina. My family's from up north, but I'm here for it. I'm here for barbecue. Barbecue is pork covered in vinegar. That's what it is. East of I-95. Sorry for it. And I'm here. He's like Bubba Gump. Shrimp gumbo bump.
I've heard that too. That's a perfect one. My last thoughts on Jonathan Brooks is initially I was hard on this pick for a few reasons. One, it is a running back in round 2, and he's coming off of an ACL tear. However, I do think that this falls in line with exactly what the Panthers said that they wanted to do, and what I said that I wanted the Panthers to do. I'm on record saying that if we don't expect the Carolina Panthers to be real contenders for anything next year, then put all your chips on offense, man. Let's do everything in our power to see if this offense can go, so that way we actually have some time to develop Bryce Young and see what we have in him as a player. And I think after you spend a combined over $150 million at your left guard and right guard combination, I think that adding another dynamic running back is another extension of adding playmakers and weapons for Bryce. And we should also mention that Jonathan Brooks is very dynamic catching passes out of the backfield, which
Canales mentioned too.
Yes, and when you go back to Bryce at Alabama, that was one of his biggest weapons, and was being able to dump it off to the running.
Can we also remind too how many times last season did we hear Bryce, I guess supporters, Panther fans cry about this is why you should have Christian McCaffrey right now. Right. This is why you should have Christian McCaffrey right now. Now, comparing a rookie coming off an injury to Christian McCaffrey, I don't want to do Christian McCaffrey wrong, but hey, if you thought that he needed more help back there, this is a way to do it. And again, CK, I like this because this is a player, if he is ready and if he is healthy, I think he makes a quicker impact to this team
immediately.
An immediate impact than other position groups can, even if they're good players, if they're good players too.
Well, I love this for a few reasons. Obviously, we talked about a few of them, but I think that in round 1, when Cody just alluded to it, and I think he hit the nail on the head with this, right? When you know you aren't competing, you don't have to put your cards in one position group or two position groups. You can draft the guy that is the best on the board in your mind, right? And right now, that is kind of what they're looking at here. Chuba Hubbard, this is his last year on his deal. Are you really going to re-sign him? If he's not, if you do, he is going to be a backup. I mean, he might be a good, 1-2 punch behind a guy that is the bell cow, but as the guy, I just don't know that he is who you want to be running this team, into the end zone, right?
Right, totally.
Then Miles Sanders, you're probably going to see him gone after this year, if not before the training camp is over. So, especially with the Brooks, drafting. But I mean, the thing that I like is in the first round, absolutely, you're going to draft for what you need. That is going to be because you have every potential outcome, every single position group that you have on there might be very similar in how you grade them, right? But once you get into the second round, you don't have to approach it that way. You give them the best player available and go about it that way. Like Cody said, we're not competing this year. We might be surprised and we are better than we are expecting, but let's move forward with this guy. And that's why I love some of the draft picks they made later on is it didn't feel like they were reaching for many of these guys. Many people might disagree, but from what I was seeing, it seems like we've gotten a pretty good deal on a lot of these guys.
All right. Yeah. By the way, oh gosh, Canes game tied up. Started the third period, 3-3. Canes are up 3-1 in the series, trying to send the Islanders home, but they're being pesky and problematic and resilient. Come on, let's go Canes. And my man said, gosh, it's Kill Tony night. He said,
dude, they're cooking your ass in the chat, boy.
I don't even know who Snagglepuss is. Oh, the Pink Panther? Is that who it is? All right.
Snaggle. Now, I know the name. It's an old cartoon.
All right.
And hang on, Panther guy. We're gonna get to kicker because the Panthers do have a brand new thicker kicker, and we're gonna get to him. I promise. But real quick, let's run through some of these other draft picks. We still got a couple to get through. Trevin Wallace. This is probably my least favorite pick of the entire draft, if I'm being honest with you. There were other linebackers that
you knew better.
Yeah, man. But also Peyton Wilson was there. You were pumped on him, Tony.
Yeah.
So was I. And he went to the Steelers. And you know that guy's gonna fucking ball out.
You hear the reason that he fell so far? Didn't you see that?
It's the injury, right?
He doesn't even have an ACL. Like that's what the rumors are. Is like he has no ACL whatsoever.
What? How would you not play with an ACL? That sounds made up.
Didn't he still run a 4.3 though, or some shit like that?
Yeah, ran a 4.4. Like that.
I think the worry is the long-term problems that come with it, like how much cortisone you're gonna have to shoot into him each game. Like,
he was highly touted. His RAS numbers were generally pretty good. And Tony, you added this one. What did you?
All right. So we heard that Dan Morgan's talk about just his, insane athleticism, and you heard that it's just like he's one of the most athletic linebackers and even athletes in this class. I was surprised that he was still the third in some of these scores, and he was still that most. But they talked about his sideline to sideline speed, his ability to play both in the box against the run and also be fast enough to play off the ball in coverage. And we know that Dan Morgan, look, if anybody knows, we know that, well, Dan Morgan holds the record. I think he still holds it for the most tackles in the Super Bowl. And I tell you this must have caught his eye. As a freshman, Wallace earned all SEC freshman team honors for his 12 games. And in one of those starts, he had 32 tackles in a single game. 32 tackles, 4 for a loss, 2 sacks, a forced fumble, a pass breakup, and a quarterback hurry. That is a hell of a game right there. That's where, and then he goes on and he played, I think they're not, I'm okay with this pick, Cody. I understand. Look, we look at the draft and we go polished. This is like, we just look at them where they are. Dan Morgan has talked a lot about what this guy can be.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask both of you this. Do you expect him to be a starter or at least somebody that's rotated into games at any point this season?
Yes.
Okay.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, I think so as well. I mean, again, you have nothing to lose, and developing these guys early on is probably a really good idea.
And who else do you got?
That and
Jewel and Shaq Thompson,
Josie Jewell, Shaq Thompson. Yeah, man. We knew linebacker was a big position of need,
right?
And this is the guy that they got. And by the way, in one of the draft streams that we did, somebody said to me that of the linebackers that Dan Morgan has had a hand in drafting, I believe 3 of them were Pro Bowlers and 4 of them were All Pro. So Dan has a good track record with linebackers, man. I don't really feel like too much about him. Like I don't know much of him. I don't expect anything.
And that's fair.
Yeah. Now this is the one that CK started talking about, and this is, in my opinion, this one made up for the previous pick. We had taken him a lot in our Friday free for all mock drafts.
Yeah.
And this is the de facto number 2 best tight end in the entire draft, in Jatavion Sanders, Texas tight end. And Tony, CK kind of alluded to this earlier. You've always been kind of a stickler about taking tight ends high, but really this is the range that a lot of the good tight ends in the NFL have sort of come from, these later rounds.
Yep.
He is an incredible receiving target. He is, a long strider, incredibly tough, incredibly strong, can high point the football. And according to the NFL drafts, next gen stats, he was the second highest rated tight end prospect at 81 to Brock Bowers 96. Tony, I'm happy about this. I think he can block good. Not the best at blocking, but it's something that he'll get better at in time. And Tony, our tight end room the past few years has been such an utter disappointment.
Yeah.
And this is coming from someone who still thinks that Tommy Tremble can be a good football player. Tony, this might be one of my favorite picks, if not my favorite pick of the entire draft.
I'm not going to be too excited, but I am happy. This is, to me, this is the type of player where you find him, when you find him, that can turn out to be a good player. Not that I have a problem with, look, is Travis Kelce a complete anomaly? Yes. I just have heard so many of these tight ends that are going to change the game. They're going to be all this, and they don't ever do it. And you put so much into them. And I think it also is one of those positions that turns out to be more difficult to adjust from college to the NFL than people understand, particularly with the strength of the guys you're going against on defense that make you a liability as a blocker sometimes, that have caused difficulties of you getting off the line and getting into your routes and throwing you off your timing. So that's why I just feel like I am just not a fan of overdrafting a tight end. I'm happy. Look, the Panthers need to continue to try to find an answer.
Did you feel he was overdrafted?
Look, if he's the second tight end and you get him in what, the fourth?
Yeah.
What round is this? Then no. Then that's like the range that I want to get somebody right there.
That's what I'm saying. That's where I said that this is perfect for what you're looking for from a tight end perspective. Is you're not overdrafting him, you're not reaching for him, you're not getting him in the first, which is your biggest pet peeve when it comes to guys like this.
Yeah.
But you're getting a guy who is valued pretty high when you look at the draft and what
the other guys that are available. Yeah.
Right. And so and when you look at the actual grades, he is by far the best grade anybody gives us for the draft.
Super big. He's got these, they call him man hands, is his nickname, man hands. He was, I think, in high school on Randy Moss's You Got Mossed, where he caught a one-handed grab over a guy. He looked like he barely could jump, though, at that way. It's like he's so big, it looked like he jumped like this, 6 inches off the ground.
Yeah.
Somebody said he's kind of slow. Look, this is one of, I think, again, that position, too, is like maybe top-end speed is an overrated commodity at certain positions. Like, yeah, is it nice to be fast and have runaway speed? But Greg Olsen ran like a Uncle Greg in those high knees, right? He wasn't the fastest, fleetest of foot guy. He wasn't slow, but and so, yeah, I'm happy about this. And look, the Panthers have been searching, where I'm happy that the Panthers are trying to find an answer at tight end. Look at this, what are we? We're 4 picks in. 3 out of the 4 have been offensive. The Panthers needed help at tight end. They cut bait with all of these guys. I'm not dead on Tommy Tremble, but if my memory serves me, we may have drafted Tommy Tremble higher than this, to be honest. I don't know if was Tremble a 3rd round pick.
I don't
Tommy
remember.
Tremble, 4th or 5th.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, still. So, no, I mean, look. Okay, this is another check on the box for me. Fine, happy with it. And I don't think as like getting a wide receiver here would have been, crazily better or something like that.
Yeah, and again, how often have we heard that a tight end is like the de facto safety blanket for young quarterbacks? I mean, it is the truth. When you have a good, dependable tight end that can fill in, and you can put him on the line. It makes you so versatile. And Tony,
holy shit! Hold on. I just turned my head. It's 5-3 Canes. Oh my God! I mean, look. It's been 4 minutes. They've scored 2 goals. Send them home. Send them packing. Send them back.
Let's go, Canes.
Yeah.
But my point is that look how much we talk about how much 2 tight end sets benefited Cam Newton early in his career. Like now, if you're able to put Tommy Tremble and Jatavion Sanders on the line, that allows you to be able to run the ball effectively and to be able to pass the ball and trick the defense into not knowing which one you're even doing. I like this pick. This might be my favorite pick of the whole draft.
I'll ask you, since you asked me about the last pick, if he's going to play a meaningful role. Will this guy play a meaningful role in his rookie year?
Yes, I really do think so. In fact,
You said the same about Tommy Tremble, though.
Well, I mean, but knowing how much they want to get tight ends involved and knowing that they like those bigger targets, how about this? I'm more confident in Jatavion Sanders making an impact than Trevin Wallace.
Yeah, hey, look, I mean, I'm here for it. Like, again, to me, this is it again. I don't know what to think about these players till they actually play, right? And I'm happy. I can see the logic behind this. I can see, but for me, this is sticking to the brand of trying to build a team that we can learn the most about Bryce Young in the next football season.
Absolutely. So we're almost done with the draft picks, and then I'll wrap them up with the thought of the entire draft. But then we picked up Charles Smith-Wade, who is a cornerback out of Washington State. He was one of the best corners in all of the Pac-12 last year. What is the stat that I have up? It says he had an 86.5 PFF grade since 2022. That's second among all Pac-12 cornerbacks. He had 2 interceptions in the Senior Bowl this year, Tony. And if I find the clip of it, then I'll play it. But there's a clip of Shao at the Senior Bowl, and he's shutting down the Virginia wide receiver that's in front of him. He has a good ability to mirror, and he seems to be the type of defensive pick that Ejiro Evero wants in our defensive backfield.
Hey, again, not going to latch on to any one of these. Look, he came out and said this, is that he's a nickel corner. Yes. That's what he plays. That's what he likes. And
that he's played outside, but he said that you wouldn't be upset if he was moved in.
Well, he said you're always eating or something like that. You're always in the action when you play nickel. You're defending the run. You're playing against the pass. You're never just running downfield and then you turn around and they ran the ball up the middle.
Nickel's an incredibly valuable position in the NFL now. It wasn't super high valued, but here in the past, I would say 5 years, you've seen this value of nickel corners really start to go up. And so that I'm glad we finally got somebody that, or at least hopefully we have somebody who can fill that role and hopefully fill it in a way that's actually measurable. Because right
we're
now,
in these picks, CK, though, it's all a roll of the dice if they actually pan out. You know, is after the third and fourth round, you're really reaching for hope. I think
if I had to, again, you're right. We can look at this through rose-colored glasses all we want, and it's not until we actually see these guys play and see these. I mean, there's multiple facets here. We have to see how these guys play. We have to see how these guys are coached to see if there's actually any effectiveness that they're going to be able to bring to the team. However, my thing, when I look at this draft, there's a hope that we have people that are absolutely able to actually impact the game right this year. This isn't a lot of people that are going to be just, we're going to keep them in the practice squad, or we're going to keep them on the second team and all that stuff. I think a lot of these guys have potential to actually start and actually play meaningful snaps for this team.
Yeah, well, we know this is. I think Troy Hill is going to be the starting nickel. Right, you need a savvy veteran, but you are trying to develop guys, and we don't have anybody in that room. So hey, there we go, another pick. Who do we got? Is there anybody else? There's one more pick, wasn't there?
Well, there was 2 more picks. I actually didn't. I did put them. Yeah. So Jaden Cromartie, this is another dude I was really impressed with. He's a defensive tackle out of Mississippi State. And again, we'll get flagged if we play any highlights. But the Panthers did put out a highlight video on their own channel of all the draft picks. But Jalen Cromartie is a guy that can play nose for the Panthers. I mean, imagine we have a formation of A'Shaun Robinson, Jaden Cromartie, and Derek Brown in the middle, able to wreak some havoc. This dude is aggressive. He has nasty hands. He's a little undersized. He's kind of short for the position, but dude, he's a beast. He's a people mover. And again, man, I feel like in previous years we've had some defensive tackles that we drafted late that we had a lot of hope for that didn't really pan out. But Dan Morgan, they knew what type of players they wanted to draft in this year's
Well, they
draft.
know they needed a defensive tackle. We continue to see that being a need. You didn't want to probably commit too much to it too early at a season that you're trying to, again, invest around Bryce. We have seen some later round defensive tackles, and while they haven't panned out for the long term, there have been a couple of moments where we thought they actually could have. Bravion Roy was one. There was another one too that Matt Rule got in his first draft. I think that was okay for a little while. That just, they didn't pan out. So, hey, what else? Who else is like, can you be upset with it? Meets a need.
Yeah.
Look, you're not investing. Look, and then we look at this is what we've got 3 back end defensive players. We go corner, we go D tackle, and we get a linebacker. So the Panthers know that they have needs on defense. They know that they have invested most of their resources on offense, but I love how they allocated the first half of this draft to offense and saying, look, let's just keep that train moving in that right direction. Instead of trying to make a complete team, let's try to figure out if this head coach and this quarterback can get this offense jump started. And then next year, the year after, we'll start thinking about being a more complete team.
Yeah. I mean, I like all the picks. Antonia, I said this during one of our draft shows, but I feel like Dan Morgan tipped his hat when they asked him a question a couple of weeks ago when it was him and Dave Canales at the podium. They said, what approach are you taking to putting weapons around Bryce? And he said the goal wasn't really to put weapons around Bryce as much as he was to find the best Panther fit. And I feel like that meant something to him on offense or defense. They had a certain brand in mind for the types of players that they wanted to draft. And I feel like they did that, man. And I feel like all of those picks, you see that through line of that Dan Morgan gritty kind of toughness to them. Our final pick of the draft was Michael Barrett, the linebacker from Michigan. So let me enlarge this. Barrett ranked 198th on PFF's big board, so it was a tremendous value for the Panthers. Barrett was one of the leaders and captains on the national champion Michigan Wolverine. His 84.3 PFF grade ranked 9th amongst FBS linebackers. A consistent player in both run defense and coverage, Barrett is a cerebral player who loves the game of football. So, again, not really a whole lot to expect from another linebacker. Probably someone that's going to end up playing special teams. And he's got that leadership quality in him. And to me, this is another example of Dan Morgan trying to get real dogs and some leadership in the building.
I read something on Panthers.com about him, and I just like that. And you want to talk about the dogs part, is it was just like he wants to inflict pain and punishment on his enemy, on his opponent with every hit. They asked him what being a dog. Actually, I'll pull it up. What does being a dog? Here, cover me for a second while I find this article. Carry on. So we don't have too much downtime.
Yeah, I mean, again, overall, I think the draft was a good draft.
Yeah.
I didn't love every aspect of it, but again, I don't think you ever can really love every aspect of a draft. Unless you're an Eagles fan, I guess, from time to time, or a Ravens fan. But boys, do you have a draft grade that you would like to bestow upon Dan Morgan and the Carolina Panthers before we jump into some cat calls?
I want to preface my draft grade with I am removing the trade up to number 1 last year and losing this year's first round draft pick that was the 1 overall. I think that's more of an indictment on last year's draft than it is on this year's draft. So this year's draft is going to be based on what Dan Morgan did himself. And I think I'm going to go with a B. And the reason I'm not going A is it felt like they're rolling the dice at center, and that doesn't bode well, I feel like, for this offensive line. I think that there is a potential you see Austin Corbett perform at a high level, or even maybe Brady Christensen, but I just don't think that you can go into this year with that type of a risk when you're talking about all the things you're wanting to do with Bryce to be able to protect him and give him the best opportunity. I think that a B is a fair grade, given that I do think that they made some pretty impressive trades, got back a second for next year, which we didn't have. It felt like that there were some movements that they made that didn't feel too expensive when it's talking about going up and getting Brooks. So yeah, I think a solid B, and that is only because there was a lack of a drafting a center.
In a game versus Maryland, this is from Panthers.com. Barrett broke his face mask on a play. It was something he shared. It's something he shared head coach John Harbaugh now with the Chargers kept as a memento, as an example what to do. So John Harbaugh is carrying around his broken face mask saying, tackle like that. Barrett said that when he plays, he's coming into contact with bad intentions. That's the goal every time.
Mm-hmm.
And they asked him if he had a chip on his shoulder. He said he got a whole bag of chips.
Yes, sir.
Now, when it comes to the grade, look, I'm going to say A+.
Oh, come on.
No, and here's no.
Come
I mean, I don't know.
Give a
When I
real
say that,
answer.
well, like what? Then it is B+. I guess like, there's no grade
B+
to be
for
had.
me, yeah.
There's no
Yeah, we're
real
doing the
grade to be had. Did they lose anything in this draft?
Nope.
And really, you can't evaluate a draft class for 3 years, two or 3 years, because if you go back to look, I'm actually wearing this and look, I didn't plan on doing it like why this is, but it comes into perfect light right now. This is my shirt. If you're listening, just audio only, says Panthers don't funch around. I think this is a one-off only. I think Trip Morgan made this one shirt for me. Devin Funchess comes in, has a good rookie season. Kelvin Benjamin went down his second year. Carolina Panthers go 15-1. You go back and look, they did the redraft grades when it came to, I think we had Shaq Thompson, we had Ben Wickery. Trey Boston may have been a second-year player by that point. We had Funchess. Like all of a sudden, at the end of that season, they did the regrade. And it was like all of these guys should have been first round picks. And now none of them are in the league anymore. Right. How many times have we come up here and jumped for joy over draft picks and they not panned out? Right.
Right.
I'm going to, I'm going to give it an A, if that makes you feel better. And it's an A for sticking to plan, not deviating from the goal. Not deviating from what Dan Morgan set out to do in this offseason, and that is not to win the division overnight. And this is one of the things I didn't understand maybe I'm so cynical of the draft talk and all of this and how irritating is all of this crap of all the things and the mocks and this and that. The Panthers had so many needs, you can't fix it in a single draft.
Right.
You can't fix it in a single offseason. So, yeah, CK, I think it's a fair point to say, look, is you didn't get anybody who you're thinking about rotating in at center, but can you do everything all at once?
Right.
No. To me, the most intriguing pick of this draft is the running back.
Yeah.
And if this guy is healthy and can make a contribution right away, you might be going, oh, shit, we got a fucking star on our hands, dude. And I don't care where he was drafted at. If he comes out and is blowing the fucking league up, everybody's going to go, oh, shit, you could have drafted him in the first. It would have been okay.
I mean, I think it's important to illustrate a few things. All of these picks don't have to be stars, but if 2015 or any of our successful years tell us something, you need a few stars. And as long as you have starters that can actually perform at a higher level, they can look like they're all-stars. And that's what happened in 2015. When you look at our wide receiving core, you look at even our defensive backfield. When you think about who we had on this team, the fact that we performed the way that we did was an absolute miracle, right? And so,
and getting that second round pick too next year, I think, is a big add. TK.
It's such a big and if you want to be fair, like I don't like the decision to use the trades for different years in that year that it's impacting that year, right? So, like, for instance, the Bryce Young trade is impacting this year when it comes to grades for us, right? Same thing with that second round. People aren't looking at that when they're giving us a grade on our draft this
they'll
year.
be thinking about it next year. CK,
That'll be a part of next year.
The people that got A's, like somebody said Chicago got an A on their draft, of course, because they have more picks than anybody. Right. So, like, when you have multiple firsts and multiple seconds and multiple thirds, of course you're going to look at it and go, they got an A. But if you're we were working without a first round pick, and this is our draft, I'm okay with it.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I just don't want to get too high on any player and set expectations that will make me disappointed in the future.
Right.
But I will say, look, is the way that I'll grade this draft at the end of the season is then if we have 2 players or more from this draft that make a meaningful impact on this team, it'll be significant. Because I can't remember the last time we've had multi-players come out of a draft in the first season and make an impact.
Right.
All right. Is that it?
You want to take some cat calls?
Yeah, let's do it. We're rocking and rolling. We'll get through this show.
Yes, sir. The number is 252-228-5098. Let your voice be heard on the longest running Panther podcast in history.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his nose? Who's that kid that can use one?
Up C3 podcast. This is Lucas.
Oh, I thought it was.
This one goes out to my boy Cody, the
What's up,
Clemson and Panther fan, just like me, brother. Man, I am so sick of my Carolina Panthers not drafting Clemson Tigers. I'm so sick of my Carolina Panthers drafting losers like South Carolina Gamecocks. I'm tired of losing. It's ironic, ain't it? We're losing and we draft losers. Maybe if we draft champions like maybe Clemson Tigers, the 3-time national champions, maybe that'd be a good idea. I can't believe in the history of Carolina Panthers football, we have never drafted a Clemson Tiger. That blows my mind. We even played football there before Bank of America Stadium was built.
I hear you, brother.
Still never drafted a Clemson Tiger. That's the best football program in the Carolinas. I don't care what you say. I love my Panthers.
That's
but
undeniable.
It's the best football program in the Carolinas. But love y'all show. Keep pounding. Go Tigers.
Keep pounding. Go Tigers, brother. Hey, man, it hurts my soul that we can't ever get no Clemson players through the draft, man. But I don't know, man. As a Panther fan, I guess I ain't got no choice but to pull forward these damn Gamecocks, bro. So
someone said they got Bullware. Was he an undrafted?
He was
free
an
agent?
undrafted free agent.
Oh,
We
okay.
never. Now we did meet with Nate Wiggins, the corner from Clemson, but it didn't fall to us. So
All right. Let's go to the next call.
Go Tigers.
You fucking guys, how you doing?
Hey, what's up, Paisan?
The draft
Paisan.
was come and gone. Like you guys know, I don't really know any of these kids we got, so I did a little research. That Leggett guy, he's people say I got a fucking funny accent. This guy, I can't wait for his press conferences, man. Anyway, big body receiver. Hopefully he pans out. The one I'm most excited about at the tight end, man. Pass catching tight end. I haven't had one since Greg Olson. Hopefully that means Ian Thomas gets the axe. I'm kind of tired of having him on the fucking roster. You know what I mean? He's kind of useless. And I don't know why we just keep bringing him back, but whatever. And how about that fucking kicker? We got undrafted kicker. What is he, like 6'1", 240 pounds? What's that all
Harrison
about?
Mees, baby.
Anyway, I thought that was kind of silly. I doubt he stays on the roster, but anyway.
Oh, don't say that.
Kicker's pretty funny. And the running back too, out of Texas. You know, I know nobody's jumping up for joy drafting running backs, but I don't know. He might do some damage. You know, coming off the injury is a little concerning, but hey, this is a part of the season where we just don't know, and we're just, you know, watching mini camps and then training camp and preseason. So hopefully the shit pans out and we win more than 2 games this upcoming season. Now let's double it. Let's win 4. Fucking A.
Yeah.
All right, boys. I gotta go.
So I'm trying to find a clip. Of course, we can't show any of them. But listen, I would like to introduce you to my new love on the Carolina Panthers, my crush.
Oh, we didn't mention, yeah.
Harrison, the thicker kicker, Mavis, has signed with the Carolina Panthers. Let me tell you, this man is 6 foot, 240 pounds.
6'4".
No, he's not 6'4". He's like 6 foot. He's like,
no way. Really?
Yeah, he's only like 6 foot.
I thought he was.
But he's 6 foot, 240 some odd pounds. And this dude holds the SEC record for longest field goal with a 62-yard field goal kick.
He's listed on Wikipedia at 5'11".
Dude, but listen,
hey,
this
bro,
man
I was there, bro. I was at 5'10", 230.
Dude, listen, Eddie Pinheiro did some great things. You know, he was good for us. But I do not want this to be another Harrison Butker. I'm not going to stand for it to watch this man go somewhere else while we still pedal around in mediocrity. Harrison Mevis is the guy I'm putting all my faith in. This is going to be the kicker for the Panthers, baby. Let's go. I love him.
It's like 2 Bryce Youngs put together.
Oh, dude, that's the thicker kicker, baby. What's up?
You know, look, I love any position where you can have the dad bod and play in the pros.
Yeah.
If you check the pro baseball out, you'll see some hefty ass mugs and they're just throwing 95 and throwing gas. And they're like, hey, man, I really don't got to run a ton. I don't got to hit. I don't got to do shit. I'm here for it, dude.
Dude, wait till he starts hitting fucking 65-yarders on the reg and it's on Pat McAfee's show all the damn time for just being a savage. Oh, I'm here for it, man.
I don't expect him to run any fake kicks, though. I guess the holder will do it.
Shit, don't
the holder
doubt
does
man.
it anyway.
Hey, that man's a tank. You don't want to tackle my boy, dog.
He's gonna run. You're gonna put him in at fullback every day.
Yeah, he'll put his head down and lay the boom on your little ass. You know what I'm saying? My man thick out here. You know what I'm saying?
All right, let's take the next call.
Shout out to Harrison Mevis.
You fucking guys, how you doing?
Is this same one?
Got a draft.
Let's see. Next call, Chase from Anderson.
What's up, guys? This is Chase from Anderson.
What up, Chase?
For those that want to compare Xavier Legette to Mingo, shut the hell up. You don't know what you're talking about. You've never seen the guy play. Mingo, by this comparison, this metric, this guy on this YouTube said so, this guy on this writing page said so. They didn't ever watch him play either. 2023 season, Xavier Legette made more plays and had more production than Johnson Mingo ever did in his entire college career combined. Yeah, I know he was a one year wonder, but hey, there's context to be added to his 1 year, right? Should have got Matt McConkey. He's the best route runner on this separation, blah, blah, blah.
No, we
Matt
actually
McConkey
need a
had
guy like
limited,
this. More than
production.
that.
Look at his numbers, man. If he's so great, he barely have 400 yards. Come on now. What about A.D. Mitchell? A.D. Mitchell didn't go in the 50s, almost 660. Troy Franklin didn't go into the 4th round. Come on, I understand the analysis on Leggett was all over the place, anywhere from where he went all the way down to the 670, 80. But I think we've got a good player. He's physically gifted, man. I understand he's a big boomer bust guy, but or if you wanted some other players who's better value or a different position, I get it. I can understand those arguments. But to call Leggett another Mingo, it's just stupid and lazy.
I agree.
It's just lazy. You never watched him play. Don't give me that.
And I don't want to shit on Mingo.
I don't know if you guys ever been to the catscratchreader.com. It's the SB Nation's page for Panthers.
Yeah.
Man, that's the comments on there, man. Those fans that leave the comments on that website, it's the most toxic Panthers fans I've ever seen.
All right. Well, ice up.
Appreciate you, bro.
For me, look, I looked at Mingo and I looked at his size and his type of game, and I just was like, he kind of reminds me of an AJ Brown type of player. He did not play like AJ Brown at all. He had a tough rookie season, and I don't want to just throw the baby out with the bathwater when the entire team was terrible.
Right.
I'm rooting for Mingo. Look, we've given a lot other guys in Panther Nation a lot longer leash than Jonathan Mingo, and Chuba Hubbard is one of those that so many people love. We gave him a long leash.
You said so many people. I was like the only fucking one.
A lot of people were
it was not a lot of people.
There's a ton.
No.
So then, but just back to Leggett, now I saw Lewis Riddick, or my buddy was telling me Lewis Riddick said that this guy can play. Yeah. And that his comp is AJ Brown. For me, it's just this. He's fast. He's proven his speed with the 40, right? And to me, the 40 is not important and necessary but when fast players play in college, they look faster than they are because there's average speed out there as well. But when you get to the NFL and everybody is fast, it doesn't look fast anymore. Right. So to me, that 40 is kind of verifying the speed that you see out there on the college tape, that it's real. I think his power, his strength, and like Cody was talking about, like after the catch, is against Texas A&M or Texas Tech. He had a first kickoff return where he took contact like 3 times and then got out of it and ran a 100-yard kickoff return. So, and then the other thing that I love, and homage, rest in peace to Joe Riolano, and I just watched the highlights. Again, I'm with, I just go and look at the highlights, but he attacks the ball in the air. He goes up and gets it and goes after it. And so I feel like he's a strong player. And if you've heard him talk, that's country strong, bro. That is country strong. That's a different type of strength. That ain't just looking great in the mirror strength. That is, oh crap, this guy's stronger than he looks strength.
Yes, sir.
And he's happy. Seems like you know what? And
he's the happiest dude ever.
Yeah. He seems like it's just like, dude, it's like, I want to chill and go fishing with this guy.
Yeah, you want to hang out, have a beer, fish for some grouper or something. Yeah,
catfish.
Hey,
so
real catfish.
I mean, this is getting stereotypical here, but Lord,
just to update.
I love catfish though, and collards and cornbread. I'm all down with all of it.
That's my favorite fish, fried catfish. By the way, your Canes are up 6-3.
6. Oh, they got another one. Heck yeah.
All
it's
right.
over. Sending those boys packing.
I did want to mention about Xavier Leggett is that one of the knocks on him, Tony, was that he doesn't necessarily run a full route tree. So you're not going to see him run a lot of comebacks or curls, even necessarily a lot of out routes or drag routes.
Does Mike Evans?
Well, that's my point. You're ahead of me. What I'm saying is that in order to be successful in the NFL, you don't necessarily need to be able to run every single route. You just need to make sure that the routes that you are effective at, you're lethal at.
And they can't stop you.
Xavier Leggett is going to feast on corner routes, post routes, and go routes.
And that's why they draft.
Yeah.
Dave Canales has a type.
Yes, he does.
I mean, Metcalf, these guys, Mike Evans, he's like, and look, this shows you football doesn't have to be too complicated. We get into this idea that like, oh, you got to do all this special crap. And this is why I used to would get annoyed sometimes last season when everybody was talking about how just terrible the play calling was. You've got to execute. You just got to execute plays, right? So if you're running the ball and they can't put two safeties over the top and they got to commit to the box, then you get these post routes. You get these things that can win downfield, right? You just have to execute. You got to have players that have strength, speed, power, and go out there and get it done. So I don't need a guy. I mean, yeah, is he a guy that's like an Odell Beckham? No. Is he a guy that was like an Antonio Brown? No. But Mike Evans, bro, and he is not 6'5". Let's go ahead and be clear with that. He's not Mike Evans in the height department. But Mike Evans has made a living being a one-on-one receiver. And if we don't think about this, who could make a bigger difference to our team this year or even in the next 3 years, Ladd McConkey or Leggett, if both of them work? Say you got the both of best players.
Well, dude, now it's not even a question. I'm pulling for it again.
No, but like, is that you would have a guy that's kind of an all-around kind of gadgety, all-around player, but now you got a guy that you go, this is your job, and then we got other guys to do the other shit.
Well, and listen, so Deontay Johnson, if you believe him at his word, was told that he was brought in to be the wide receiver, that he was going to be the number one read on the majority of snaps. I think when sliding Xavier Leggett into this offense in context with the other weapons makes a little more sense, right? You have Adam Thielen that you know is dependable. You're looking for Jonathan Mingo to be able to show
maybe do stuff, yeah.
Maybe in a second. I mean, again, you made the point. That was his rookie season last year. A lot of other players have been given up on for a lot less. And then, but thinking about how he fits with those other guys,
compliments them.
He is a great compliment to what they're trying to do on offense. And I do think that him and Deontay Johnson and
then you put Thielen in the slot.
Yeah,
you got your three receivers. We know who's starting day one.
Yeah, they represent different enough styles that the Panthers can be versatile in a lot of different ways. Also, keep in mind, Ilir Smith-Marset played well for us last year. That's another speedy receiver that's on the team for us right now. So
yeah, we could go get Damiere Byrd for all we know.
Nah, let's leave him in the pass where he belongs. Like
this guy can burn downfield. He runs 4.3.
He's fragile.
No, I'm talking about Leggett.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah.
Man, if he's running 4.39, 4.4, that's like.
Don't mention Bird no more. Don't mention
Beckham
Bird.
was a 4.4 guy, I think.
Don't mention Damiere Byrd or Cameron Artis-Payne, and maybe I could be happy. And by the way, before we go on, I looked up Harrison Mevis, and check this out. Over his 4-year collegiate career, this is our kicker. He made 147 of 148 extra point attempts while converting 86 of 103 of his field goal attempts. That's pretty damn badass. He even booted a game-winning 61-yarder as time expired to avoid overtime and walk off of a ranked Kansas State team in his senior year. That's my kicker, baby. That is the new kicker for the Carolina Panthers.
All right. Next call.
I didn't give my input on the rest of the draft. I understand the head scratching over the Jonathan Brooks in the second round. I understand the head scratching that. But that was a lot of people saying it's RB1 in that draft. I think he's going to be a good back. Him and Sanders, I think, were more of a 2025 setup. I think that was big picture. Some of this draft is setting up for next season, I think. Didn't know much about Sanders, the Texas tight end, so I went and looked at some of his stuff. Man, I like what I see of that with his film. That dude's a dog. He's a dog. Past that, really don't know much about any of them. I know Chris Simmons seems to like that tight end from Michigan. He's played a lot, but everything past the third round is crapshooting anyway.
Yep.
All right, I think this draft is just fine, and I think people were complaining too much about the lack of defensive picks. We'll see if Gilmore signs or not. I'm not really sure. I think this offseason was more about jumpstarting, turbocharging the offense. And if everything clicks and hits with all the moves that's made this offseason and draft for the offense, I believe next offseason is going to be focused on the defense. All right. See ya.
Peace. All right, good call. Let's go to G. Cavassier next.
Podcast brothers, how y'all doing? It's G. Cavassier. Well, gentlemen, the draft is over. And I'm pretty hyped about this draft class. This is a pretty good draft class. I'm not going to lie to you. My opinion, this draft was better than last year's draft and the year before draft. I mean, to me, this was a very good draft. Now, I wanted the center out of, West Virginia, but he got picked up. I would have picked that center out of Oregon too, but he got picked up. But I heard that he picked up a undrafted free agent center. Forgot the dude's name, but all through all, I think we did okay, man. I mean, we got good old XL as a wide receiver now. That boy's on the ball. And that running back we got from Texas, he looks like the damn truth, man. Even though he's coming off an injury, that's the only bad thing. But you know what?
Yep.
I think he's going to be okay. And I don't know about you guys, but I look at his highlights, his college highlights, I see flashes of D'Angelo Williams with this dude. No, I'm not saying he's going to be the next D'Angelo Williams, but he reminds me of D'Angelo Williams. And the tight end from Texas, when we drafted him, I think that is clear indication that Ian Thomas is gone. That's my opinion. I mean, Ian Thomas is a damn good blocker. And see, that's this dude we picked up from Texas, the tight end. I heard that he needs to work on blocking, whatever. But, all through it all, I think the draft class was pretty good, y'all. Give me your thoughts on that. And Professor, I just looked online. Who was it? The Jaguars released his wide receiver.
Zay Jones.
I forgot his daggone name, but he went to ECU.
Yep.
In my opinion, we don't need another wide receiver. I mean, we got enough wide receivers. You know what I'm saying?
He's fast, though.
I'm still waiting for good old Stephon to come on back to Carolina, man. But give me your thoughts on that, y'all. Keep pounding.
Zay Jones holds the record for the most catches in ECU history. His dad, I always forget his first name, Cowboys linebacker, multiple Super Bowls. Zay Jones got overdrafted his rookie year, too high of expectations to Buffalo.
He's done some okay things.
I mean, look, the Jags were paying him too much. The Jags had to overpay to last year,
right?
I guess they were kind of what the Panthers are in a sense when it comes to free agency, a destination where you're going to have to pay more than guys are worth. So, I mean, look, they drafted, I think, the LSU guy or something, BJ, somebody or whatever. So, look, Zay Jones out there. I'm happy with where we're at. But thanks for shouting out ECU. Cody Lack, anything else to say about that before I go to the next call?
No, let's move on.
All right.
Gentlemen, tell me I want to hear from each of you, what is your grade that you'd give the Carolina Panthers, new GM Dan Morgan, for this draft? What grade would you give them, honestly, objectively? What's the grade you give them? And what was your favorite thing you liked and the least favorite thing you liked? And I'll start it off. I would give the Panthers a B. Favorite thing was trading back in the second round, 13th pick, to get the Los Angeles Rams 2020 second round pick. And then they drafted that running back from Texas. Good move. I also liked the fourth round pick, that tight end from Texas. Least favorite pick, I didn't like that first round pick. I didn't like the wide receiver.
No. Why you not like my
But anyway,
pick?
what are your thoughts? Football aficionados.
All right.
Good to talk to you again.
Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it. We did some grades early. Again, I'm going to go A for me, not because I'm caring about the players. I'm giving Dan Morgan an A for sticking to his plan, the offseason plan of building an offense to find out what we have with Bryce Young. Right. And a little bonus there for getting that future draft pick.
So look, my grade that I'll give I gave a B minus. I think that was a fair grade. All in all, I would say that my least favorite pick was probably Trevor Wallace, just because I just feel like there were better linebackers available that we could have had. And yeah, my favorite one, I'm gonna say Jatavian Sanders, man. I really think the tight end out of Texas could end up being good for us and having a large impact this year. At least I'm hoping, man. We need one of these guys to surprise and make an impact.
Yeah.
I'm wildly excited about the running back.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, and knowing that we paid Damian Lewis and Robert Hunt so much, like I'm expecting a lot from this offensive line this year.
Yeah, totally.
And let's be real. We're expecting a lot from Bryce this year. They've massively upgraded the protection, I feel like. They've given him a new stable of weapons. You know, one of the conversations
we're expecting him to succeed.
We're going to have to continue to have this conversation of like, how long is the leash on Bryce? Like, what is a reasonable expectation of him this year? Maybe it's unfair, but my expectations of Bryce are pretty high this year.
All right.
They have to be.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's a learn it year. I think that, look, if Bryce has a difficult year, I don't think it's right away. Bryce can't be the answer. But really, you are looking for progress this year, and you're looking for significant progress too. And you're trying to figure out, because if he's not good, if Bryce isn't good, the defense probably is not going to be great. The team won't be great overall. You got to figure out what to do next year. You know? And if you're going to be in a top 10 position, you got to start thinking if you're taking a quarterback. And I don't think it's right to not give I want Bryce Young to have 3 years, but I think he gets 2.5, basically. I think he gets 2 full seasons. Then they keep him on the roster, but we're going to learn if they believe in him or not after this season.
I'm telling you, man, if we end up having a low pick, I don't know. There's a lot that could happen, man. A lot.
Yeah, we just need him to do. We need Bryce to go out there and do what he was advertised, what we thought he was going to do last year. That is, be high completion percentage, not have turnovers, make clutch plays. But again, I don't think I was too hard on Bryce last year. It's just everybody sucked last year.
I was too hard on Bryce, but that was fair. And we also went through the film and we showed parts when players were open and Bryce missed them. And that's not saying Bryce is trash. It's saying Bryce has to be better this year.
Yeah.
The standard for every single player has to be better if the Carolina Panthers are going to ever make it out of the basement of the NFL.
Totally. All right, next call.
D3 Nation, happy post-draft. I just wanted to call in. I was a real blast getting on StreamYard, chatting with you guys during Cody's 72 hours of straight post and pre-draft coverage.
We out here, boy.
Fun to meet some of you guys in person finally for the first time after 6 years now.
Thanks for jumping on.
Anyway, I didn't want to get too much into the weeds with individual players, but I was just going to call in, get your takes on some things. I did not like this draft. I was trying not to overreact on Saturday, chatting with everybody, but man, I just felt like, I don't know, we did a lot of dancing around, moving up, moving back, and like, sure, some things happened. I just don't know if they were all for the best. I mean, that deal with getting a second round pick next year, we basically traded a 39th pick for.
Yeah.
Rams are going to be picking like 60, 59 next year. So I don't know.
No.
Saw a lot more value in that of just staying right there at 39 and getting a center for the next 10 years, a cornerback for the next 4 or 5 years. I don't know. Didn't like that, man. Hope for the future in that June 1st cuts, maybe pick up a serviceable center there or a serviceable defensive back. I don't know. Let me know what you guys are thinking. I'm sure we're going to be talking nothing but draft, but I wasn't a big fan. We'll see. I mean, if anything, like we were talking about Saturday, to me, this is Dan Morgan saying, all right, you got your weapons, Bryce.
That's exactly what it is.
Determine if we're going to be picking a quarterback with the number 1 overall pick next year.
or top five or
I
anything
don't
like
see a
that.
lot of wins out of these Panthers, but I really hope we see some development in Bryce because I don't want us to restart that clock again. Keep pounding, everybody.
Keep pounding it.
Love from
Last year was so bad, Tony. That's what I'm saying. You have to keep it in context. Last year was so bad that in order to counteract what we saw, you want to see a major jump. And it's almost like anything less than that is going to be disappointing to Panther fans.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Look, I understand any Panther fan who is hesitant to just throw the roses out for everything. And to me, it's one of those things is like, what could you have done arguably that would have made everybody happy? That would have given us the A. Like, I mean, what would have really gotten the damn A according to all of these major publications? And to be honest, I think all they're going to do is looking at top players at positions of need. The Panthers had so many. Again, you can't fix this team in a year. Can't fix this team in an offseason in a draft. So time will tell, but I understand being cautious about stuff. And really, this draft, I think, is going to be made off of probably the second and third round picks. Right? As if the second and third round picks in this draft turn out to be players, then it's a home run. If one of the two, then you're like, oh, well, you hit a double.
Yeah.
Is like, but if that linebacker turns out great, we're going to forget about Peyton Wilson.
Right.
Yeah.
Agreed. I think it's also, I think this draft class has the potential to be similar to the Saints draft class with Marshawn Lattimore and Alvin Kamara.
Just contributors across the board.
Right. Exactly. Now, do I think that it's going to be exactly like that? No. I mean, I think that they had a Hall of Famer at quarterbacks and they had their wide receiving room figured out and all that stuff. So, I mean, there's certain differences that are going to make these two separate teams, but I think these guys have the potential to have a similar impact.
All right, next call.
Yo. What's up, C3? It's Anthony from Charlotte. Hope y'all boys are having a good Tuesday. Just thought I'd call in and get my thoughts on this past weekend, the NFL draft. So the first pick, Xavier Legette, mixed feelings about him. I don't really know how to feel about him yet. I was a little scared that some of the NFL, draft guys were comparing him to Jonathan Mingo, and that freaked me out. But, I mean, Dave Canales, he's a wide receivers coach, and so is Brad Isaac. So we'll see if they can develop him well. I'm just hoping it takes the coaches and the playing time to develop these kids. I hope he gets in the starting lineup when he's ready. Now, if he's not ready the first week, then don't start him. But if he's ready, then see what he's got, and hopefully we can take off with him. The second round pick, so we traded 39 for 52, a fifth rounder, and then the second round pick next year. Now, that's the best part of the draft, in my opinion. The Bryce Young trade in terms of giving up capital is finally done. Going into next year's draft where you're most likely going to have a pretty high first round pick, and you just need all the picks you can get in the rebuild, man. That's really what it comes down to. You need more bites at the apple. That was great for Dan Morgan. It feels like if this was Scott Bitter in the front office, he would have tried to trade another future pick for anything. No. I think Dan Morgan is playing this he's trying to be aggressively smart in a way. I'll get into this running back now, which leads me into this. I like Jonathan Brooks. I think he was the best running back in the draft. People can argue Trey Benson. That's fine. I said before the draft and for weeks, I don't think taking a running back in the top 50 is smart. Unless he turns out to be a Christian McCaffrey or a Saquon Barkley or someone like that. And I don't know if that's going to be him. We'll have to see. It depends on how they utilize him. But if the offensive line's good, then, maybe he'll have a long, good career here. He's good catching out of the backfield, etc. The third round pick, to be honest, don't give a fuck. He's just a developmental Brandon Smith guy. He's a whatever pick. The 4th round pick, finally, a 4th round pick that I actually feel good about. A guy that we all knew, a guy that was relevant, Jatavion Sanders. He's going to be the future tight end 1 here. I'm happy with that pick. I love it. 5th round pick. Who did we take? Oh, yeah, that cornerback. He's like a whatever pick. The 6th round pick, who did we take? I think we made.
He's got a part 2. There you go.
Oh, yeah. Oh, hey, guys, I'm back. Real quick. The 6th round pick, that D tackle from Mississippi State. Hopefully he's not another Brandon Roy. I hope he gets some playing time. Again, a lot of this just comes down to developing these players, man. That's really what it comes down to. Believing in the guys that you select, giving them a chance. And then it's also like, yeah, maybe you shouldn't have taken that player at that spot. We'll see, though. I mean, these are just my early reactions from a couple days off the draft. Then the 7th round pick, Michael Barrett from Michigan. Hopefully, those 2 linebackers, I'm not high on the guy from Kentucky, but hopefully they can
I don't know why you're down on him either.
Shaq's gone. Josie Jewell's only really got a 2-year deal here. So we'll see what happens, man. Overall thoughts, I mean, I'm going to keep it real. You guys know I'm a realist, even though I'm a diehard black and blue fan. But I think this draft is a B. And the only reason I'm giving it a B and not like a C- or a C+ or a C is simply because of that 2nd round pick you picked up next year. Like, that's a crucial pick, guys. I don't think many people, everyone overlooks how much we gave up for a guy like Sam Darnold. That 2nd round pick could have been a premium player. In the 2nd round, you're still getting 1st round talent. The 1st and 2nd round picks, they're very important. So I think it's from the Rams. The Rams got a lot better this year. It's probably going to be a late 2nd round pick, but hey, 2nd round pick is better than no 2nd round pick. So those are my thoughts, early reactions. I'll give the draft a B. Give me your thoughts on my opinions. Hopefully, and this is the last thing I'll say, I'm not looking for wins this year. I just want to see Bryce Young develop, see some splashes from these younger players.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
That's about it. Anthony from Charlotte, keep motherfucking pounding.
I think this Trevin Wallace meh from people. Look, Cody, you're kind of like that. You said it was like this is the one meh on Anthony. I saw somebody in the chat. I wish hold on if I can find it real quick. I want to give them credit. They said Young Sung Wukong said this. Brooks. That's not never mind. I thought he was talking about Wallace. I thought he was talking about Wallace. This Trevin Wallace guy. Look, I think the disappointment from that pick comes just because people knew Peyton Willis's name. We knew Luke Kuechly. And I told you that I wanted us to draft 2 defensive players at 33 and 39A to blow up the internet. Not because I wanted the Panthers to do it or something like that, but I knew Panther fans would go nutso. And then I wanted the Peyton Wilson pick because of nostalgia. The connection to Luke Kuechly, the Dan Morgan trifecta, stuff like this. But look, Dan Morgan picked a linebacker over him, right? He was still on the board here, I believe.
Right.
And I think that it's kind of, look, as I understand, is to not be wowed by a pick like this. But I don't think you got to be, I think it's just the unknown is the wariness here. Is like they saw something, they saw athleticism in him and development, and like they see him being better in the future. So I'm okay with it. I don't want to poo-poo on it just because I didn't know his name before the draft.
But also, it's not even just that. I think he had like 40-something tackles.
He had 34 in one game.
Yeah,
his
in one
rookie
game.
year,
Okay, so I can say he's a one-hit wonder. I can say he's a one-hit wonder. Until I see more of him, like, okay, if you want to say, he's good, whatever. But like, we also can't bill him like he was one of the better linebacker prospects in the draft. He wasn't. He didn't have great numbers. So again, if he ends up being good,
he had 80 tackles
but
last
there's
year.
no
He had
reason
80 tackles in 2023 as a junior.
Yeah, where did that rank amongst his other classmen? Like, not very high. But
All
again,
right. I mean, that's okay. I just think you guys are more.
You know what I say about every season? It's prove it season. It is fucking prove it.
He's look. I like his size. He's 6'1". Well, he's about almost 6'2". He's 237.
Yeah.
Right. He runs a 4.5. These are linebacker traits, bro. 20 reps on the bench press, 37. Like his broad jump, 10 feet 7. Like he is a linebacker that's not going to be light in the pants, but is also dynamic, fast. So look, as we can poo-poo him, we'll wait, we'll see. Like you said, prove it. All right, let's go to the next call.
Hey guys, it's the growl that makes them howl, aka Joey the Blind Panther. Calling to talk to you about the NFL draft and how we did a whole bunch of moving, wheeling, and dealing without a first round pick, but we still got it. We got ourselves a redneck, and you know how rednecks are. Rednecks. They're gonna get it. They don't play. You know who Xavier Leggett reminds me of is old Forrest Gump. The way he talks. And you know what they said about Forrest Gump? And I ain't saying Xavier's dumb, but you know what they said about Forrest Gump? That he's dumb, but that son of a bitch can run. But so there's a guy who's a kind of an unsung hero, but we have to give him the credit for the draft because for those of you who ever driven down Moorhead Street, there's a guy, or there's a place called Dilworth Neighborhood Grill, and the owner is a guy named Matt. I don't know how to say his last name because I'll probably butcher it, but his name's Matt. And he owns the Dilworth Grill. And he's a Panthers fan. He's a PSL owner and who went on the news and said, I couldn't sell my tickets if I wanted to. So he put up a sign because he's actually known for the signs that he puts up. He puts up a sign that said, please let the coach and GM pick this
Oh,
year.
yeah, we didn't play this.
We talked about it
on
Friday.
A little visit.
Yeah.
And it seems like he did let the coach and GM pick this year. So credit to Dan Morgan for knowing what the hell he was doing. And credit to Matt from Dilworth Grill for catching the attention of David Tepper. And I think we had a pretty good draft. I mean, of course, we'll see when, the season comes because we're always looking good on paper, but never on the field. Anyway, guys.
Wow. Hey, man, at least somebody's getting David Tepper's attention. I think a lot of fans would like to get David Tepper's attention, but at least someone in Dilworth is doing it.
All right. Final call is from my mother.
My thoughts are that your podcast is going to just get better and better this year. Focus on the future. Keep the faith. Stay positive. Noni. Good night.
I love you, Mom. Yeah. Hey, keep the faith, stay positive. I actually think this is first, I feel like overall the panel has been optimistic about what has happened. Or what went down. And look, is like I don't even know how you could be mad at this point. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you are upset, it didn't happen the way you wanted it to happen, the way you would have done it. Other than that, I mean, I guess there are concerns with the injury when it comes to the second round pick. Some things. I just don't think you're going to get an A grade from anybody if you only have 6 picks or whatever it was.
Yeah, 6.
All right, read it. Don't skip over it.
No, you read it.
Isaiah Simmons, most tackles in a season with 67. Take that. Oh, I love it.
He also played more positions.
Stop. I don't even care. Guess what? Guess he don't play no positions right now.
That guy.
He don't play no positions. Is he even on a team right now?
I think he's on the Giants.
Okay. All right. Look, That's it, guys. Oh, wait. Here, do you want to run over this list? I mean, I don't even really care about it that much. Just
So, I mean, listen, we don't have to pinpoint like any specific player. I do have a list of extra bits of info on these undrafted free agents. So if we did want to pinpoint someone else, we could. But this is just a list of the undrafted free agents that the Panthers have signed. We didn't grab a center in the draft, but we did grab one in free agency. His name was Andrew Ryan. He's a center from Oklahoma. Again, don't know too much about this guy. These guys, maybe during the free-for-all this Friday, we will delve a little further into them. I kind of just wanted to jump around. Some of these other publications gave us draft grades. This is from NFL on Fox podcast. They gave the Carolina Panthers a big fat D. It was the two lowest grades that they gave out. And both of those grades went to the NFC South in the form of the Carolina Panthers and the Atlanta Falcons. I guess we'll just mention both of them at the same time. CBS Sports or NFL on CBS, they put out a list of biggest winners and losers from the draft. And they had, yet again, the Panthers and Falcons on their list of losers.
Well, go to Panthers.com and look at their story because they found the 5 publications that gave them Bs.
No, really? Did they?
Yeah. Because I saw a couple of these and then I was looking at Panthers.com and I was like, and it was like, see what the other publications were doing. And it was just like B plus, B minus. I was like,
but like this also, it also kind of goes to your point. Like it's so subjective, dude. It's so, it is a bunch of whatever.
It's just people looking, here are the needs of a team. Here are the picks. Did you get picks above players where they thought they were going? So did you get a guy who you thought was going 44 at 64? And that's how they do it.
It's also compounded with what we did last year. Like people generally gave us good draft grades last year, and then we didn't do shit. And now this year's draft is nowhere near as flashy as last year's. At least we didn't get the quarterback.
I've just seen so many drafts where we were excited about it and they turned out like shit.
Yeah.
And we've had a couple of those over the last 4 years. So here is, I'm optimistic. I'm happy that we got new players and I'm glad that they chose them for a reason. And that's it.
Yes, sir. And I believe this is our final talking
slide. Point.
Yeah. JC Horn had his 5th year option picked up. We talked about this a little bit before they did it. If it was a good idea, if it was a bad idea. I love it. I think it gives us 2 more years to be able to evaluate JC Horn properly with him hopefully being able to stay healthy. And listen, we've hinted at it before. I think the Panthers have hinted at it. I still think that Stephon Gilmore is probably a likely signing for the Carolina Panthers in the future. And if that does happen, I would love the ability to pair Stephon Gilmore and JC Horn here for the next couple of years, maybe.
Yeah, I think giving JC Horn the 5th year option was the right move, not because you believe that he's going to be great, but because you're worried that he's going to have his first full good season in a contract year. And then you're either going to let him walk or try to pay him too much. And now you get a little leeway of trying to figure it out. We did get one last call. We'll take it. This is the final call of the night, and then we'll do our ice up picks.
Yo, it's Lou from Fort Myers.
What up, Lou?
Motherfucking show time, baby. First, man, I just got to get this off my chest, dog. So, a lot of people I seen on ESPN, they rank this at a D, right? You might as well call this man Dan Morgan Jesus, because he took two fish and 3 loaves of bread and made something with it. Nigga, he fed the people. I don't give a damn how we go from no first round pick to a first round pick. That literally cost us nothing. Nothing, right? To 2 second rounders, right? So now we made a selection in every single round. We went from having 2 second rounders and a third to first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and 6th, 7th, bro, we took the best running back of. In my opinion, it's not the best running back, but it's the second best running back on that board, depending on how much versatility. And he was right. Dan Canales was right. I said Dan Canales. Dave Canales was right. That he's a versatile running back. So is that tight end and everything. I don't understand how they can give us a D. That is my ice up pick to ESPN. You cannot rank these players yet because we haven't seen them play snaps, right? And then there was another dude that said that the linebacker we drafted from Kentucky, these names are all new or whatever, had the worst film of any player in the draft, which I hardly believe. There's no way you get drafted having the worst film as a linebacker. I don't believe that, buddy. But no, first I just want to say y'all cannot lie. Dan Morgan cooked. He cooked because we were gonna only have 3 picks, and that would have been, okay, no point of watching the rest of the draft. 1, he made the draft interesting. 2, he made the players. The pick makes sense. The only pick I would like to have seen was a center. The only pick.
All right, Lou, don't say I never did anything for you. I'm playing your second call.
Yo, and I wouldn't be Lou if I didn't drop a part 2. What's up? So, like I was saying, the only selection I didn't like was that corner, that nickel corner. What I think they're gonna do, they're gonna bump Troy Hill to the outside because Troy Hill is a little taller and he's more physical and he has that veteran presence. That if we don't get Gilmore, you know what I'm saying? But Troy Hill, he looks like a corner that can play the outside. And then, ice up to ESPN for that. They have us the second worst ranked draft, which is freaking ridiculous, dude. Freaking ridiculous. Like I said, I wish we took a center or an edge, but I'm fine because I feel like Evero's going to cook with this defense somehow. Evero's going to make a way because he made a way last year. Bro, think about it. Evero made a way last year. Who the hell did we have on defense? Brian Burns was getting cooked out there. He's a non-factor. All we had was Derek Brown, and Sam Franklin Maine. You know what I'm saying? And then our safeties were kind of straight. But yeah, I think Evero's gonna make a way. We don't have to really worry about defense this year. We picked up a lot. Like I said, I would love to see a center pick up because we still don't have one, but we can always get one that doesn't make the 53 man. And we're gonna pick them up. It's not that hard.
Bro,
but yeah, man,
we made
I just want to show love. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to
Appreciate you, Lou.
Shout out to everybody. I didn't get to say my condolences about Joey, but
Thank you.
here's my condolences. Tony, I hope it gets better.
It is, man. It's
Time
been
heals everything, and I'm gonna just keep it short. I love every single one of y'all. Thank y'all, man. Thank y'all for this platform, and thank y'all for the family, man.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, Lou.
Lou, we love you, brother. Appreciate you, man.
Read this comment real quick.
Yeah, dude. How about we got fans in jail, but we got fans in
Your
the
brother,
UK.
man. I'm your biggest fan in jail. I love y'all 100%. Or look up to you as true dying hard Panthers, Carolina Panthers fan, fan since they went to the Super Bowl. Always live. He's probably voice text. Well, actually, I don't know if he's voice texting. But says good things about Charlotte, the podcast. Interesting. Hey, bro, we are international.
Oh yeah, dude.
We
got
are
multiple UK fans, and now we're in the jail system.
Now we're
man.
yeah.
Yeah.
Got
Hey, man,
locked up.
Hey, C3 Podcast, we out here, baby. We everywhere.
Who said we ain't got our ear to the streets, brother?
Yeah, bro.
We got our
already
ear
know what
to
it
the
is.
streets.
Hey, man, let everybody wide across this country, across our world, know about the C3 Panthers podcast, baby. The longest running Panthers podcast in all of history. Tony Dunn, it looks like we're going to get out of here super
We just got to
early,
ice them
man.
up. All right, let's do the longest running segment on the longest running Panthers podcast. It's time to ice some fools up. Ooh, caught you with your hand.
It's buried like.
Oh, he went.
Ice up, son. Ice up.
Damn, he's not in jail. Sorry. Well, I'm glad you're free, homie. Number one. Two, I'm disappointed you're not in jail because the idea
You mean
of
somebody's not texting us from jail? Damn.
the idea of us not penetrating the airways behind bars is disappointing.
Yeah.
I would love for somebody to use their little burner phone from jail to call the cat call. All right. It's the longest running Panthers podcast. The longest running segment on the longest running Panthers podcast is where we tell someone to ice up, toughen up, get it together. Everyone's fair game. Doesn't have to be football related. I've only got one tonight.
I have 3.
Oh, of course you do. The one night the show is going to end. I got one.
Mine are fast though.
All right, CK, you got any?
I do. I have one.
All right. You go first, Cody, and then
let's see if I go first so I can get all of mine up. That way I can rapid fire
You got it.
Well, I can go first if you need.
I got it.
Yeah, go ahead.
I got it up.
Go for
yeah,
it.
I got it up. So this one, it's a little bit, it's just a quick little video. I don't know how recent it is or anything along those lines. So it's probably something many of you've seen. If it's something that's been out there for a while, but I found it to be hysterical when I first saw it. So there's this guy smoking at the gas pump.
Oh, God.
And this dude walks up with a fire extinguisher.
Oh, no. Oh.
Wait, what? What was
unnecessary? There's no cigarette in the history of the world that's caught a gas station on fire.
Yeah, but I think this guy's the owner of the gas station because, like, he's got the outfit on, I think, or at least he's an employee. But yeah, dude smoking at the gas pump, and he just comes up. Anyway, I'm just icing that dude up for getting a fire extinguisher sprayed into his face and his car. So that's going to be interesting to clean that out. So, and the fact that he's just staring at the dude, like, as he's getting ready to spray him down, like, he's like, what's going on? Oh God, is there a fire somewhere? Not realizing.
Oh, no, it's you.
Cigarette.
Tim. All right.
That's hilarious.
My ice up pick is going to go to the Charlotte Observer tonight.
Ooh.
And look, I subscribe to it throughout football season. I subscribe for about 9 months a year. And I usually pay the full damn price of like $17 I was paying throughout this season. So I called up when the season was over, and I was like, look, I'm going to go ahead and cancel, probably sign back up later on. And they go, oh, dude, $3.99 a month for a year. I said, all right, fine. I'll keep it. So 1 month goes by, 2 months go by, and then it's $9.99 a month. It hit me. It hit the account today. So I call up and I was like, look, you said $3.99 a month for a year. And they go, oh, well, company policy changed over the last month and it's $9.99. And I was like, well, you said for a year. You didn't say temporarily,
Yeah.
And I said, well, I'll just go ahead and cancel. They go, oh, well, because you've been been with us for so long, we'll give it to you for $8.99. I was like, yeah, you said, then it went to $7.99. Then it went to $6.99. And then I said, nah, man, I'm just kind of angry that you guys just indiscriminately raised the price on an offer that you gave out.
Right.
And not because I think that price is too much, but because you're the one that offered $3.99.
Yeah, they offered that price.
So then she goes, I'll give you $3.99 for 2 months. And then that just made me mad. I was like, so you're trying to tell me that you could have given me $3.99 the whole fucking time, the whole year even. And I said, no, just cancel it anyway. So I said to the Charlotte Observer for that, just for that practice, I would have paid $9.99 or $6.99 if you would have agreed to that in the first place.
Yeah, well, that's so many of these companies that do that, where you have to call, like, it's almost every single subscription you have, go and try to cancel it, and they'll be like, well, here's the deal, we can give you this better deal on it. You can do it with Adobe, you can do it with most internet providers, your cell phone company. And like you said, I agree. I think that just pisses me off, because the entire time I'm sitting there thinking, so you didn't need to charge me what you were charging me, and like you're dealing with, you take 5 different attempts at me canceling before you get it down to a reasonable number.
I mean, I would have been fine paying the $9.99. Anyway, that's it. That was it. Just for the process. I got mad when she actually went down.
And she said she could give it to you for 2 months. Like, bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I suck, man. So I've got a couple. Mine are pretty rapid fire. We can go pretty fast. Ice up, man. Don't have your head sticking out a window when a freaking water buffalo, whatever the fuck, is getting too close to you. Oh, dude. As it hits the kid's head against the top of the window. One more time. He's probably got a nice little headache from that one. Oh, dude. Freaking buffalo, dude. What the hell? So ice up. Get your head in the window. Next one, I'm icing up. Let me make sure I mute it so that way there's no music playing. To people who do shit like this, they undergo this extreme body modification. I just want to know who finds stuff like this attractive. Oh, dude, it makes me cringe. Watch her tongue, but look how dexterous her tongue is. She's like a fucking snake. Opens up, grabs the noodles.
She's got chopstick tongue.
Oh, dude, my God,
that's
dude.
like she's using a fork to eat noodles, but she got chopstick tongue.
Are we going to talk about how long her tongue was anyway?
I don't want to see this.
Oh, dude. My goodness. All right. I mean, you don't have to watch that no more, but ice up to her. And then my last final ice up is to this poor sap. No, he's not dead, but he's probably not feeling well. So this dude, he's trying to get on this donkey. He's trying hard, dude.
Cuida, vaqueiro.
Don't look like it from here.
Passa a perna. Chama na espora. Chama.
Oh. And this is him after.
Oh man.
So yeah, homeboy.
He got a broken face, dude.
But leave these fucking animals alone. Leave them in Mother Nature where they belong. Ice up people fucking with animals, man. So stupid.
All right. Well, that's
the
C3 Panthers podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. My name's Tony Dunn. In the middle's Cody Lack. On the other end, CK. We're here every Tuesday night. We'll be here on Friday. We got Ricky Raines next week. Cody Lack, take us out of here.
C3 Nation. Until next time, keep pounding.